Hello, welcome to the Archives and Special Collections at the University of Southampton. Myself, Karen, and my colleagues Lara and Russell, who will be presenting this film, are delighted to share with you details of the maritime archaeology collections that we hold. This is a developing area and one that has been created in conjunction with the Institute of Archaeology at the University, as well as with the Honor Frost Foundation. Given this link with the Honor Frost Foundation, it might be no surprise to learn that what has been termed the Foundation collection is that of the Honor Frost archive itself. Honor Frost has been described as a woman of many talents: artist, ballet designer, scholar and writer, with a consuming passion for the world beneath the oceans. She could claim to be a pioneer in the field of underwater archaeology and in its pursuit as a scientific discipline. She was raised in an artistic environment. Orphaned at a young age, she became the ward of the London solicitor and art collector Wilfred Eville, who gathered works by emerging and contemporary British artists, including Stanley Spencer. He encouraged Honor's interest and talent in art, and she studied at the Central School of Art in London and the Ruskin School of Art in Oxford. She subsequently became a designer for the Ballet Rambert before moving into the realm of archaeology. Honor's introduction to underwater diving may be seen as an unlikely inspiration for a new passion and eventual profession. In her book, Under the Mediterranean, Honor describes a snow-covered Wimbledon garden under a full moon, and her friends using planks to push her down a cold black well until the air inside her rubber suit had been let out and the heavy canvas clung tightly to her body. Despite these unnerving sounding conditions, Honor relished the sensation of weightlessness and detachment from the everyday as she sank into the well, and, after sea diving with a mask and aqualung, quickly concluded that time spent on the surface was time wasted. However, the thrill of her odd psychological reactions while diving wasn't the only contributor to Honor's success as a maritime archaeologist. It was her talent and training in art which enabled her to advance the positioning and analysis of centuries-old underwater shipwrecks by using techniques in three-dimensional plotting and drawing. In the 1950s, she began training at Cannes, where she met Jacques Cousteau, the inventor of the aqualung. Cousteau's assistant, Frédéric Dumas, became her close friend and mentor. It was under Dumas' guidance that she dived to her first wreck, that of a Roman ship, Anthior.
Honor Frost subsequently worked as a draftsman for an archaeological expedition led by Kathleen Kenyon at Jericho in 1957. Realizing that terrestrial archaeology was not for her, Honor moved to Lebanon, where under the auspices of the French Institute of Archaeology in Beirut, she began to explore the ancient harbors of Byblos, Sidon, and Tyre. This also marked the start of her interest in stone anchors being a key to identifying wrecks and showing trade patterns. In 1960, Honor was involved in the first season of the excavation of the coast of Turkey of a Bronze Age Venetian ship. This was the first excavation of a shipwreck using techniques under the direction of underwater archaeologists, marking the genesis of scientific underwater archaeology. Between 1966 and 1967, Honor surveyed and partially excavated a Roman shipwreck in Malta. Among her most important projects was an expedition sponsored by UNESCO in 1968, which surveyed the Pharos lighthouse site in the port of Alexandria. She confirmed the existence of ruins representing parts of the Pharos, as well as the remains of submerged buildings representing the lost palace of Alexander and the Ptolemies, thus establishing the site's importance. In 1969, the Sicilian authorities and the British School at Rome appointed Honor to direct the underwater survey of an area off the coast of western Sicily near Marsala. In August 1971, her team discovered a Punic shipwreck believed to have been a longship, perhaps an auxiliary military supply vessel, used by Carthage in 241 BC in the last battle of the First Punic War. For several years, Honor and an international team of marine archaeologists worked on the site before eventually restoring the wreck for display in a local building requisitioned for its museum display.
The Honor Frost Archive provides a comprehensive and meticulously collated record of Honor Frost's archaeological work. It includes significant material for her maritime projects in France, Sicily, Malta, Egypt, and in the Eastern Mediterranean, Lebanon, Syria, and Turkey, together with material relating to Honor's research on stone anchors and photographic material recording her excavations and travels. Most importantly, the archive has an especially complete record of the Marsala ship expedition. Honor published and lectured prolifically, and the archive contains original drafts and offprints of all her key publications on maritime archaeology, together with a comprehensive set of drafts of lectures circa 1961 to 2007. Archaeological drawings and sketches from Lebanon and early ballet set designs from 1940 to the mid-1950s beautifully illustrate Honor's Frost's artistic skill. The archive also contains some of her early sketches and designs, demonstrating various artistic techniques, from rough sketches to detailed scenes, with a range of materials including charcoal, watercolour, and ink. Prolific letter writer, the archive contains a series of correspondence that Honor maintained with other key figures in the field of underwater archaeology, including Frederick Dumas, Lucien Bache, and Paul Adam. Frederick Dumas was close friends with Jacques Cousteau and Philippe Tellier, pioneering divers who were known as the Three Musketeers. In his later years, Dumas' passion was underwater archaeology. He was chairman of the Archaeology Committee of the World Underwater Activities Federation and the French Undersea Studies and Sports Federation. Due to her practice of keeping drafts or carbon copies of letters sent, there is often outgoing correspondence to supplement that of letters received. Overall, the Honor Frost Archive provides a fascinating insight into the work of a pioneering figure.
Building on this collection, the university has begun to acquire material from other leaders in the field of maritime archaeology and maritime history, including that of Lucien Bache and Dr. Nick Fleming. The eminent nautical archaeologist and maritime history specialist, Lucien Bache, shared with his friend Honor Frost the particularity of being self-taught in their respective fields of archaeology. He trained as a lawyer. In 1972, the International Journal of Nautical Archaeology and Underwater Archaeology was launched, with an article by Bache on ancient wrecks and archaeology of ships, establishing him as a specialist in nautical archaeology. His 1987 publication on the nautical history of antiquity, a 525-page volume based on ancient iconography and containing more than 1,100 drawings and photographs, remains an essential work of reference.
Meticulous and well ordered by nature, Bache's archive contains extensive series of photographs, slides, and illustrations, scientific reports, and files on all the subjects that he explored or intended to investigate. An indefatigable traveller, he systematically visited and recorded images of boats wherever he went. His nautical history of antiquity was drawn from the images in his collection. Dr. Nicholas Fleming is a marine geoarchaeologist. He was employed by the National Oceanography Centre, Southampton. From 1996 to 2001, he was director of the European Global Ocean Observing System. From 2009 to 2013, he was a UK delegate to Submerged Prehistoric Archaeology and Landscapes of the Continental Shelf, and edited one of the final books from that project. He learned to dive, breathing pure oxygen in the Royal Marine Special Boat Service in 1956. During study for an undergraduate degree at Cambridge University, followed by a PhD research project, Nick used his military diving experience and the skills of flying light aircraft to improve scientific research underwater by diving and submersibles. Employment by a commercial marine technology organization required travel right round the world in 1965-67, after which she joined the National Institute of Oceanography.
The Nick Fleming archaeology collection, which is more compact than that of both Honor Frost and Lucian Bash, consists of site notebooks, maps and photographs, refers to the study of coastal archaeology sites and submerged occupation sites and submerged caves in the area of the Mediterranean. Fleming's research was primarily to estimate changes of global and local sea level using archaeological and coastal geomorphological indicators for the last 1 million years. The collection provides both a record of the state of the archaeological material in the period 1967 to 1990 and the means of estimating changes in the coastline and local developments of buildings, ports, etc. since those dates. The collections held at Southampton provide an important and developing resource in aspects of maritime archaeology and nautical history, and the development of underwater archaeology as a scientific pursuit. For information on the holdings at Southampton, do look in the new online Apexio Archive catalogue, and inquiries can be sent to us at archives@sotn.ac.uk. We look forward to hearing from you.